I heard Agnes has just reached a valuation of over $100 million.
Customer acquisition cost is as low as 20 cents. We're the fastest in the world.
I think it gave me an impressively accurate response.
The role of this agent is trying to understand human intent. Agora is very popular, very famous for its speed, right? We want to be the fastest AI consumer product on mobile in the world. Agora is almost like the omnichannel. If we're able to take this opportunity together with Agora, we might be the next Facebook.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Convo AI World Podcast. Today's episode is another special face-to-face interview, and this time we are in Singapore. This is a city full of passionate AI innovators, developers, and entrepreneurs. All right, let's get started. Today we are very honored to have Bruce join our podcast today, who's the founder and the CEO of Agnes AI. Bruce, do you want to say hi to our audience?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm ready. This is Bruce. Good to meet you, Derek.
Nice to meet you. So first of all, congratulations on your latest funding round. I heard Agnes has just reached a valuation of over $100 million. You must be incredibly busy these days. So thank you very much for taking the time and joining our podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Derek.
Cool. Would you like to just start by introducing Agnes to our audience? What does the platform do?
Yeah.
What's your vision behind that?
Of course. Agnes does something like a sovereign AI company in the Southeast Asia, originated from Singapore. Well, I myself is, I was doing my PhD at the AOS. My advisor, a bunch of researchers in the region have seen the huge opportunity, growth, inspired by the ChatGPT. At the time of my PhD, when I doing a lot of researches, because of the fast growth of the area, then the arena, we see that a lot of new things are happening every day. All professors ask us not to read any paper beyond 1 quarter. 1 quarter away is obsolete. So we have the kind of the pulse, or the kind of the feeling that the next big thing is coming, and we want to join our effort to create something from the region, something, potentially on par with ChatGPT someday. And this is kind of origin of the Agnes. But starting from the first stage right now, there's some kind of positioning difference in terms of how we perceive our product. It used to be a productive tool, just like how people perceive with maybe ChatGPT or Perplexity. Right now, we are trying to blend into the social part of it. I want people to interact very well, not only people with AI, but people with AI assistance. And this is how you see a lot of social features on Agnes, especially after we launch it on the App Store for mobile experience. We have seen a huge growth. I'm not sure they probably did mention about that in the later rounds. The number speaks for itself. We are able to, since our launch on the App Store from September, within about 2 months' time, we are growing something like 3 million registered users.
Yeah,
which is crazy numbers. I haven't seen similar apps anywhere in the world. When Instagram came out, it takes about 2.5 months to reach 1 million. When Snapchat came out, it takes about 10 months to reach 1 million. We're reaching 3 million in 2 months. And we see a lot of people just stick with our platform well. The retention for the week 8 is 30 and above. So that means 3 out of 10 users from the first week after the rest of our users stay on the platform even after the end of the second month. So this is how we perceive our product.
Yeah, I remember the last month when I checked the registered users of Agnes, it is around 2 million, right? And it increased another 1 million users.
Yeah. So I think it's about 2.5 months. The first 1 month might be 1 million, and the second 1.5 month goes to another 2 million, and start to accelerate, especially after we launch from South Asia to other emerging markets like Latin and Middle East. We've seen people crazily using our product, and a lot of them are from just organic growth.
Yeah, I think for 3 million users, meaning the product does not only found its PMF, but also build strong community momentum. So can you share with us, what does it mean to you by reaching 3 million users?
Well, it means a lot of things. First of all, it's very difficult to grow users very fast. You might see a burst kind of, a hype kind of product like GPT. GPT is able to reach 1 million very fast because it's only the first AI product in the world, right? Only usable, large language model, product in the world. You might see, Manus is growing very fast because, the first day of the launch, everybody's talking about Manus. But for any kind of organic growth, bit by bit, by week, if you are still able to reach a huge amount of user base in like 2.5 months, it's going to be difficult. So I see that there's definitely some kind of magic. We're trying to understand the magic ourselves at the same time. If you look at our CAC, customer acquisition cost, it's as low as 20 cents. And I haven't seen this kind of product, any kind of product with this kind of low, customer acquisition cost. For a lot of products with this kind of, if they get this kind of low acquisition cost, it's very difficult to retain the users because people are like, have a hype, heard about this app, come to play with it a bit, and they're gone forever. For our users, as a retention is crazily good. Like day 30's retention after we look into it is still as high as 10%, which is on par with what Facebook was able to achieve at the early days. And on the 8th week 8 of the weekly retention is still like 30%. So these numbers does tell us that we might have found very, very good place to grow our product. Product itself actually fit the requirement with the market very well. We're trying to make some, some new innovations on the product to hopefully, let them let the customer stay longer, stick more, and also invite other potential, friends on the platform so that they form a kind of social network. But anyway, I think for now, up until now, we're on the right track.
Nice. That's amazing. Yeah. So I have also talked with my friends about Agnes. I have some friends located in Singapore. So they will describe Agnes is a Singapore's local homegrown AI rising star. So how do you personally feel about that label?
Well, we kind of thought about that at the beginning, but it does help us to tell a good story because a lot of audience in the Southeast Asia, they have a kind of belonging, or they have the kind of pride if it's a product built from the region. Just like how Grab was able to fend off Uber, like Shopee and Lazada, they become the king of eBay. Become the king of e-commerce, and Amazon, where Amazon and Taobao is not able to penetrate. We think that this is good position, at least for now, for us to stay potentially as king of AI product in the region, to grow as much user as possible. I hope to actually have very high penetration up to like 50% or even higher. If we're able to reach that number for in the region, we have a baseline to grow. And we could potentially have the same kind of business model, have the same kind of growth model, and copy and paste in other emerging countries, like the Latin regions, like the Middle East, like some part of Europe, part of the Africa. So if we're able to grow like that, have a very good chance to become a very important players of the Gen AI consumer app in the next 2 to 5 years.
I also see Agnes is defined as an AI application made for everyone, but you decided not to build a general purpose AI agent, right? But instead you developed a multi-agent system to make AI accessible and useful for everyone. Right. So what's the reason behind that?
Well, idea about general AI, general agent is probably brought by companies like Manus. It's a very good concept in terms of technology because agent itself is a very trendy word. We heard about the name of agent in the early of 2024 as a PhD student. But a lot of other people are talking about the agent down the road, like end of 2024 or early 2025. We think that it's a very trendy word, it's a good concept, but it does not define a product. That's why, maybe from March to June, a lot of people, it's a very high word like general agent, but from June to the second 3-month growth from June to September, we have already talked to a new idea about the co-working, because agent serving with a purpose. Like how do you have a vibe working environment with different people using Agentic AI to replace the Office suite or Adobe suite. That's the new trend. Starting from the September onwards, the trend would be the multimodal. Like how the GPT-4, Nano Banana, Agora is transforming the entire multimodal image and video generation. So we see all this trend, and we try to take on the trend. We don't want to stick with one of the positioning. And the best way to embody all these elements of AI growth would be, we want to position ourselves as a vibe lifestyle, generating mainstream app, potential replacement of maybe ChatGPT or Perplexity in the region. That's number one. Number two, we want to be the first to embrace social elements into AI. Be the intersection of AI and productivity of AI and the social network. And this is a very unique positioning. And if we do it well, if we are able to get a young audience, the first generation of AI native audience using our product for their social life, we might have a much better chance.
Yeah, I like that. The first generation of AI, right?
Exactly.
I think you mentioned a few times about Manus. Actually, I also heard a lot of people compare Agnes with Manus, which is another AI company based in Singapore, right? Do you think the two should be compared side by side? And what do you think the unique strengths of Agnes?
I think we are two very different companies. I have a lot of respect Manus, because they are like the first to introduce the idea about general agent. I think they have been doing extremely well by transforming the concepts of how people should build agents. Previously, there are people using agent to manually work on all the workflows. Right now, with the concept introduced by companies like Manus, people believe that autonomous workflows can be generated by AI itself. So I feel a lot of tribute. I feel a lot of respect to this kind of perspective in terms of product development, in terms of product innovation. But all in all, we are very different apps. We are very different company. Agnes, we have our own models. We co-streaming a lot of models. I'm not a company heavily rely on the closed source model. That's how we could potentially position ourselves as a sovereign AI company in the region. Number two, we are not, limit ourselves to the agentic workflows, limit ourselves to the positioning of the AI agent. We were very focused on mobile. We want the young audience in the region, especially the high population regions like Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam. These people wanted to stay on the platform and treat us as a very good substitute of ChatGPT in the region, because we are going to support the minority language better, and we're going to introduce the social features, which is catered for the region. We support the culture, the language, the ethnics, and a lot of other things. So I definitely think that we and Manus are very different. We are mobile focused. We want to be a mainstream app, and we have our own models. But I do have a lot of respect to Manus.
Do you do support like both platforms of LinkedIn and web?
We do have both mobile and PC. On the PC side, to some extent, we look similar, but I would still say, Manus are doing better in terms of a lot of complicated cases, which we don't spend a lot of effort on. Most of maybe 90% of the tasks we are similar, we might be faster. But I don't really want to have this kind of comparison, this kind of podcast, right? But we are positioned very differently. That's all I would say in public way.
Yeah. You mentioned that Agnes has your own large language model, right? I know you have I think the most famous one is Agora, right?
That's right.
So is Agnes our fully proprietary model, or was it distilled from another base model?
So we do have our own reinforcement learning framework. We call it DSPO, Dynamically Sequential Policy Optimization, which is enhanced version of GRPO from DeepSeek. And from our research team, we're able to reach pretty good results in some of the open benchmarks. We're able to do better for our, reasoning model, do better than that of DeepSeek, definitely from the previous version of DeepSeek. through the time we launch our open source and publish our paper. And for that reason, we're not training our models only from distillation. But we still do a lot of distillation in our work because we have in our production a mixture of the SOTA closed source models, like ones from Gemini, from Grok, and another self-deployed models, a bunch of them, not one, including the Agnes AI reasoning model, and including some of the dance models, the image gen and video gen models. We have a lot of data from the platform because over 200,000 users are using our product every day, and they are generating a lot of prompts. And by supplying them these prompts to the SOTA models, we're able to get a lot of good data, good training data for us to distill our model. This is how we do the first layer of training. Have a lot of corpus. We have accumulated a lot of corpus of data by people using our product, especially from the group chat. And use that data, especially for minority language data, with slangs, vocal, spoken language, not something you found from literature. You do a first round of pre-training. Then during the post-training, we use the distilled data from the SOTA models to go around our SFT, supervised fine-tuning. And after that, for the last bit, we have to learn our policy optimization reinforcement learning framework to try to make our models work even better than the SOTA models. It's difficult, but it's achievable, especially when we try to, define the specific task for the category. We don't have to be better than Gemini in all the categories, but we can be better than them from a small post-training model in the specific task, like from research or generate a PowerPoint, be a good assistant on group chat. We have specific model for each of the mode in our systems. That's how we train our model and train our model in our system.
Since you have mentioned, I'm curious, does Agnes AI achieve SOTA among its peers, and which benchmarks or standards do you use to evaluate?
Very good question. So Agnes AI is able to achieve SOTA during the time we publish the paper. For the 7B, 7B range, and from a lot of quite a few of the benchmarks, including like Hop QA, including a lot of search questions. These are open benchmarks. By open benchmarks, we mean something of very standard questions, like search questions, like Q&A questions. Some of them are related to mathematics or programming. It's very difficult to transition from the results from open benchmarks to the real world problems, because during a real world problem, real life world problems, you might face very subjective matters. Like you want to judge which research is better. You want to put a comment on which PowerPoint looks more professional. There's no exact right or wrong answer, and it's very hard to give a score. So we have to train a evaluation system from our own side to give a score, to give a reward. Otherwise, there's no way for the model to improve by itself. It doesn't even know which direction to go. So this is part of what we call a universal verifier we train from outside. We haven't closed source this part. That's our trade secret. But anyway, that's with the support of the universal verifier, which transition our results from open benchmarks to the real life work problems. We're able to have a very good working model to deal with the more subjective problems, like doing a good research, write a good PowerPoint, participate very well as a group chat, assistant, speak at time you should, and keep quiet when you shouldn't. So this kind of training, we spend a lot of effort to migrate what we have start from the research to what I have deployed on production.
Nice. Thanks for the sharing. So I want to circle back to the users, registered users a little bit.
Right.
3 million users. It is a great achievement. Can you share with our audience a bit about the journey of building your user base? Was it like smooth from the beginning, or what are the major challenges you encountered along the way?
Very good question. So we do start from, there's not much secret about how we build our user base. We do have to make a lot of voices, missing voices in the region. We are working with influencer, appropriate influencers, who speak their own languages, compare us with other products, and try to promote for us. And we find that it's efficient, very efficient, especially from the very effective, especially from the emerging markets, because we are a Singapore company. We tried out first from the Southeast Asia, to the bigger countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines. There are a lot of population, over 100 million in the region, and a lot of them have not used any kind of AI products before. If there's any product, it might be ChatGPT. We just have to be better. Our free version has just to be better than the free version of ChatGPT, and that's how we are able to get a lot of people jump up to our product and try it out. The secret happens when we start to, the magic happens when we start to launch our mobile app, because we have seen that a huge population of the region are on their Android. They're not PC users. Maybe during their work, they have a PC. Outside of work, they may not even have a PC. And when Android start to, when we start to launch the Android app, we just see a huge group of people joining our platform every day on a daily basis. And the retention numbers actually goes up too. Because we're able to form a, mutual communication, mutual way of communication. We're able to reach out to our users from push notification. Well, we're able to, send a group chat, facial group chat to the user, introducing the new features. And we just have to reinforce, in the region. Every a few days, we have a new feature coming out. You should try it out. You should bring your friends to our platform. I think that just helps us to get a lot of organic growth. One of the key sources of growth, which we identified from our data, is Zalo from Vietnam. Zalo is like the WhatsApp of Vietnam. We're able to get about 10% of users from that platform. So people are circulating a lot in their own social network, telling them that this is a good product, you should try it out. It's better than ChatGPT. It's better than Proprietary. I don't know whether they know Proprietary. So anyway, they find a lot of cool features in the product, and we iterate it very fast. We want to make sure that you like the product, you like it better next week. You have to come back 1 week later to see whether there's a new feature come up. This is how we retain users in the platform. We made a mistake by moving too far to the other regions like Latin and Middle East, because we want to try to expand at early days to see how well we can expand elsewhere. But we've seen that the retention is not as good compared to that of Southeast Asia, maybe because we already have a very strong user base in the region. So we decided not to put too much effort, not to move too fast outside of the Southeast Asia. We want to find the best, the ultimate, model of growth in the region for at least another 1 quarter before we go very aggressively outside of the Southeast Asia.
Great. So yeah, I read the articles and the research. I also found besides the Southeast Asia,
right,
you also make a great success, I think, in Argentina, South America countries. So how's your users' feedback so far? And you just mentioned you made some mistakes. And what's your plan for that?
Well, we do see a very, very good potential growth in the TAM regions. The cost of user acquisition is as low as Southeast Asia, even lower. And we've seen a lot of users using our product, and we become the number 1 or number 2 in several countries in the TAM regions, beating like Gemini, beating ChatGPT. You won't be that we can do that. But one problem we see is because we're not locally stationed in the region, we don't really hear the feedbacks from the region very well. We're not able to maintain the growth very well, and we are not able to maintain as high retention of Southeast Asia as we have imagined. That's why we decide not to be too aggressive for regions outside of Southeast Asia just recently. Actually, just because we're like a team of engineers, a team of team of data scientists. So we look at data almost every day. I and my team have to look at data every day to identify problems, like identify where our retention drops, how well, what kind of feature might grow our retention. And luckily our retention numbers actually grew pretty well region. The 30th day retention used to be like 6%. Right now it goes up to 10. I think that definitely means that we have made a success in terms of PMF, in terms of product development. So that's a good sign to us. But for the time which we grow very fast in the TAM regions, this is where the retention drops. And we don't believe that retention. I mean, we still see a lot of potential in the TAM regions. It's just that we're not ready just yet. We're a very small team. Despite some of the fundraising, we're still at we have to put a lot of effort in a very cost efficient way. That's why I think the best thing we should do, spend the money very wisely, is to focus on the Southeast Asia regions, be the king of the region as fast as possible, as early as possible, find the kind of growth models, make sure that it's transferable to other regions before we take a very bold step forward.
I like that. Be the king of the Southeast Asian region.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. So I want also to touch base a little bit about your pricing strategy. So I'm personally a paying user of several AI tools like ChatGPT you mentioned and Manus, which often charge for advanced features like image generation, search report, or data analysis. But I noticed Agnes offers many of these premium functions for free or with enough credits. So at the age where most AI products has decided to move forward and focus on monetization, why did you decide to make these features open access?
Well, again, a very good question. It's not our strategy of not focusing on monetization. We want to focus on monetization too. But it's just that we feel that we are not good enough to charge people. In the process of product development, we want to find a product market fit. We want to confidently tell ourselves that if we charge the person at this place, they're going to be very willing to spend money and stay on the platform even better. If we're not able to reach that status, we don't want to charge early. And we have tried to, similar to the other product, give a very low quota at the beginning and ask them to spend money after the first day of use. It does seem to generate pretty good revenue, at least a pay rate. But the problem is it hurts a lot in terms of our daily active user growth. So if you look at the end game, like 5-10 years ago, what would be the best product in the world representing the mainstream AI usage? It's not something with strong AI. If you look at the AI right now, there's a lot of AI marketing, a lot of fake on the AI. But still, even if you have high AI right now, if you don't get a lot of people using a product, it's still a thing, despite the early success. So look at the end game. I honestly, I think our North Star metric should be DAU. If DAU goes up, any other metrics we go along with it. There's multiple ways of making money, monetization everywhere in the world. Despite, emerging countries like the Southeast Asia, like the 10, not as good as North America in terms of subscription, we still see a lot of successful businesses like Grab, like Shopping, because all the companies would definitely be able to make money from traffic. The more traffic you have at the center hub of all the people using the product, you have a say of how to make money. So that's our strategic decision not to, charge people too early when the product is not good enough. We haven't built a kind of brand. We haven't built a kind of trust from our users. We're certainly going to charge our users sooner or later, but we take it as a very careful measure. We might start with maybe $1 charge somewhere in the app, not because we lack the money. I mean, a lot of people want to charge, but a lot of apps want to charge early is because they're not running on their own models. Their cost is very high. We want to solve the problem from outside. We save the cost. We use our own models, self-deployment. We do a lot of effort to reduce our cost. So the reason we started to charge people is not because we're not built a fund for it. Just want to try out when this is natural step for people to spend maybe $1 here and there. And maybe after they spend the money, they're going to stay on the platform even longer because a paying customer used to have a high retention. Yeah, so that's the kind of strategy behind our moves.
Nice, nice. I like your ambition and I like your strong engineering culture. And as a user of Agnes application itself, I really appreciate you put yourself into the customer's shoes.
Thank you very much, Derek.
I'm personally curious, like which feature is currently the most loved one by your customers?
Well, because our app moves very fast. The feature which I mentioned right now may not be the feature which will be loved by our customers download. So at the beginning, I think a lot of users like our slides because we're able to generate pretty good slides. Maybe not the best, but on the top tiers. And we give very high quota. Like if you use Gamma, you might be able to generate 10 slides, then let's go. Next month, there's no refreshment. We are giving users to generate, free users to generate 100 pages of slides every month. And it's high quality slides because we're able to maintain the cost low. So this is the starting point where people, especially from our PC side, are getting sticky to our platform. Whenever they thought about, building their slides, generating their slides, they thought of Agnes. It's very, very good strategy to grow early adopters. I think for the last time for my, presentation, everywhere, in Singapore, anywhere in the world, I just need a half an hour to generate the slides before I go for the talk. So that's very handy. Comes very handy, especially if you don't have your laptop with you, you can build the slides on your phone and show that to your investor, in a elevator pitch. That's something I think is very well used by our customers. The ones which I like a lot, and I believe that people will love a lot too, and going to be really enjoying using that in our platform is our group chat, especially group chat with memory. That would give us a huge advantage. Agnes have memory for you and what you did and what kind of question you asked. When you don't feel well, you want somebody to hear your voices, Agnes want to play the role. And if Agnes can remember what you said and keep a memory for you, you won't try another product, even if it's better sometimes. Because memory is something which will let people stay and stick with your platform. I have a friend. He's very good. I met a better friend, but he doesn't know me. I stay with my previous friend. That's the idea behind it. So I definitely think that we have put a lot of effort. Number one research effort is on our proprietary models. Number two is on agentic memory. And our research team are spending a lot of effort to make our memory the best of the world. State of art. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do.
Nice. The memory is definitely very important to the agents, right?
Yeah.
But I also noticed I tried to play Agnes and I did some research. As far as I can tell, I think your context window is around 32,000 tokens, not 128. So do you think the context window is good enough for now? And do you have any plan to extend the context window?
Well, this is a very challenging question. It's the first time I got this kind of question. The reason why our context window is not as big as the other applications is we're concentrating on our own models, and the open source model, they don't have very, very good support of context window. That way we have to rely on other effort, like file systems, vector DB, what we call RAG, and other kind of ways to reduce the problems. So far, I think we found pretty good ways to solve the problem of context limit. It used to be a problem that when we do editing on the slides, once after a while, you talk to Agnes, you will not remember what you have said previously because you reached the context limit. But we have introduced a new feature called advanced edit, which people can just, drag and drop on Agnes. That way it does not incur any involvement of the large language model. It will not, lengthen the context window that solves the problem. Long-term speaking, I think there are two ways to solve the problem. One way is we need to have very good context window management, short-term memories, vector DB, maybe file system to keep the heavy lifting work, there and only put the reference point in the context window. The second way of solving the problem is I need to work with open source, model companies like Clean, DeepSeek. We need to ask them to have work together with us to imagine that. Their context will know because they are the pre-training models that we're hosting now. If they can't do it from their side, it's going to be very difficult for us to lengthen the.
Nice, nice. Thanks for the sharing. I also want to learn. I think the recent research shows that agentic systems shift focus from extreme accuracy to token efficiency, right? Especially in the long dialogues or multi-agent workflows.
Right.
So what is Agnes's approach on token efficiency and the potential optimization?
Thank you very much. So we put a lot of effort to reduce the cost for each of the tasks. One of the reasons is we want to really make our product mainstream, and if we keep the cost high, we can't really scale very well. If we keep continue with free database, right? Besides deploying our own models, hosting our own models to reach the same kind of SOTA level with multi-agent system, routing each of the different tasks to a smaller hosting window from outside. Another effort which we're working on is what we call code agents. We use pseudocode to replace natural language for non-horizontal multi-agent communication. Pretty straightforward idea, but it takes some time for us to engineer and experiment to make sure that we achieve very good results. We're aiming to improve the accuracy up to 5 to 10% in terms of a lot of open benchmarks like Gaia, Hotpot QA, while reducing token usage for about 40 to 70%. So the idea behind this is, if you compile two code snippets, it's always get the same results. It's very difficult to get a wrong result, different result if you run the same code. Right? But if you speak the same language to another person, you might introduce a lot of misunderstandings because of context, because of just the freedoms of the natural languages. So the merits of code is because it's formal, it's a format, because its lack of degree of freedoms, it helps the agents to understand each other very well through a long horizon. That way, we're able to improve on the accuracy and reduce the token usage at the same time. So this is a magic hack. Well, there's a lot of other efforts we're trying to optimize, and then sometimes we need to balance. Yeah, there are times we have to balance on the accuracy and speed. We want to respond, especially on the mobile side, we want to respond in a very fast way. We want to respond in like 1 minute. If you spend 5 minutes for deep research, probably not, you can already forget what you're doing. So on mobile, very fast pace, especially on group chat, we want to respond everything in about 1 minute. Our philosophy is trying our best to get the best results in 1 minute. After 1 minute, we cut it off. That way we achieve a certain level of accuracy up to maybe 90% of that of all the best products. We're the fastest in the world. This is a very important balance, a very important trade-off for us to make the strategic decision, not only from technical point of view, but from the business point of view.
I'm also curious, like when I play Agnes application, I'm asking Agnes, like, what are you seeing right now? And show it a picture or a video. I think it give me an impressively accurate response. Even though I know you don't use a native VLM, right? Instead, you are using a large language model.
Yeah.
And with external APIs for video. And so far, you don't have any audio feature. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So what make you decide not to go fully multimodal at the start, but go with a native larger language model with external APIs? And do you have a plan to add audio feature? So I think you don't have VLM or ALM, right? It is just Agnes R1 for large language model. When you want to use a video feature, like I'm using, like what are you seeing right now? I think you are calling external APIs, maybe for Nano Banana or for the others to make it happen. So what makes you make the decision not go with multimodal at the very beginning?
Oh, we do have post-trained image gen and video gen models for our open usage. We're pushing on top of some of the best open source models for both image generation and video generation. They might not be as good as maybe a nano banana, but they're doing a good job if we can mix it very well with our large language model. So I believe that the multimodal framework of generating images is a combination of two important factors. The first one is understand human intent. It's not very easy. If you just throw your prompts into a diffusion model of even in a pseudo model like nano banana, they might not understand your intent very well. Well, nano banana is already at a certain stage. They understand pretty well. But this image generation, image diffusion of other regression models, they are not the best to understand about human. And that's where we use the agents working on a multi-agent, large language model system to try to understand the intent of human. This is our first step. We call it a prompting agent. The role of this agent is trying to understand human intent. The second part goes to our in-house image gen and video gen model, which is like a post-trained version of maybe one models, a post-trained model, post-trained version of Flux. The good part of these models is if you give very, very precise descriptions of what they should do, they're extremely good at do whatever you pass. But if you give a very abstract content, if you give a very little instruction with a lot of underlying data requirement not mentioned in your description, you're just not doing very well. You just hallucinate a lot and give a lousy result at the end. So the second part of the game is what we call the generating agent. Takes the instruction not from human, but from the middleman, the prompting agent. We translate from human intent into very precise descriptions of what the image generation agent should do. And these two work very well. The third piece, after the image generating or video generating agent, is not large language model. Under the position of large language model as a judge, what it does is to evaluate on the image or on the video and give a score for it, number one. If it does not really quite fulfill the score, you have to regenerate the process. The second step is to give the feedback on where to improve. So this evaluating agent, also large language model, is trained to give good feedbacks. And this feedback goes back to the prompting agent. And prompting agent goes through the entire process again with the generating agent and evaluating agent until we get enough feedbacks, work on a lot of retouches on the image or video generation to get results which is satisfactory by the large language model the large language model as a judge, which is calibrated with human experts. And that way form a system which works better than you only have one alone, each one alone. Either it's an image gen, diffusion auto regression, or it's a large language model. This is how we do our system.
Okay. And I think you also just corrected me. You do have your in-house models for image generation and video generation.
They are not as good as the pseudo models, but for our use cases, especially with an help on the large language model and the prompt, serve the same purpose.
Cool. Okay, now let's touch base and talk about your partnership with Agora. I like this part. So can you just share with our audience how did this collaboration between Agnes and Agora start?
Yeah, so we first start about thinking about the group chat features. We thought about starting everything from scratch, but it would take a lot of effort, take a lot of time, and there's a lot of audio and video and group chat functions, which we, after a round of research, we found that Agora is already expert. So the best thing we should do is just collaborate with Agora and get Agora on this part of the boat. And during the process, we work with Agora. I think it's a very pleasant experience because we have been through a lot of late nights together. Our team is very kind of stressed I can see a kind of stress to the Agora team to have working on the support, and that's very fast response. Only a request is sent, response will be returned within 1 day, and a proposal will be given within a week, and within 2 weeks to a month, we should solve the large problems. So I definitely hope that our partnership will go on continuously to support even bigger audience.
Nice. I think you mentioned the chat. Agora chat is used in the group chat.
Yeah.
Actually, it is a very cool name called Convo. So what other opportunities do you see for combining Agnes's collaborative intelligence with Agora's real-time interaction infrastructure?
Right, I definitely see that. Agora is very popular, very famous for its speed, right? It's speed and cost.
Latency.
Latency. I think the kind of philosophy lies very well with what Agnes is trying to do. We want to be the fastest AI consumer product on mobile in the world. And we need the kind of support from the best infrastructure in the world, like Agora. We also want to keep the cost low. In terms of cost efficiency, I think Agora is doing extremely well. With these two, decision factors in your mind, Agora is almost like the omnitrack.
Thanks. Thank you for the kind words. So we've seen a growing number of voice-first AI agents emerging in 2025. So I want to get your opinion. Like, what's your perspective on the future of voice-based interaction? And do you believe the upcoming wave of conversational AI?
I totally see the trend. I think for the next generation of the AI native, social network, the voice control will be the norm. Maybe a lot of young audience. My daughter at age of 9, she's very literate. She got into the gifted program, gifted education program. There's only 1% of the entire Singapore private school got into this program. She can read and write extremely well. She already finished all the 7 books of Harry Potter series at age of 9. But when she responded to me on the social network, she never type anything. She always speak to me. Always voice control, voice over. And if you understand their kind of pattern, their kind of environment of growth, I don't think they have to know about typing on their phone anymore. AI is doing an extremely good job to understand a human from natural language. They don't have to, stay on the same kind of platform like us, because my daughter doesn't really like WhatsApp or WeChat. She doesn't really have a smartphone just yet, but she has a smartwatch. So I think a lot of young audience growing at that age, very AI native, born with it. And while my daughter is in Singapore, she can still afford for a phone. We can still afford for a phone or a PC. A lot of young audience outside of Singapore and Southeast Asia, and including a larger emerging markets, may not really need a smartphone in their life. That's how the voice control, like how Agora can support as APIs to facilitate this kind of low latency, more communication in places where network is not even that good, will play a very good role, very powerful. And we hope to run on this kind of hype for the very, very transformative, very disruptive, era of AI changing the entire lifestyle of consumer internet. If we're able to take this opportunity together with Agora, we might be the next Facebook. I would say we might be the next Facebook.
Nice.
AI native Facebook.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, I think you just finished your latest funding, and you mentioned you will focus on regional LLM training and a global commercialization, right? What are the new features that users can expect?
Well, by the way, we're still in the process of finishing the fundraising. Investors who are interested, feel free to still talk to me. Well, we have received a lot of support. I have no doubt to finish this round, but there's still some chance to join this round. But it's going to be close very soon. Anyways, we're in the transition stage of moving from a mainstream, sovereign AI product, just like something very similar to ChatGPT or Proprietary or maybe Manus, to something very disruptive. We're not going to serve every every customer extremely well because they are very strong contestants like ChatGPT who also want to enter in this area of the world, like emerging economies. ChatGPT for OpenAI, the emerging markets are their focus starting from 2025 because in their homeland in the US, they have faced a lot of competition from Gemini and from Grok, from all other platforms. They have to focus on everything. We're not going to compete with forever. It's not our best advantage to compete with big players like that. So we're in the transition stage to moving from general software AI to social AI, and we see a huge opportunity of that. If everybody is trying to gain a piece of pie in the productivity, it's a recipe. They're all trying to get some kind of cut from Microsoft Suite, Google, and maybe Adobe. But the opportunity lies on what Meta is doing right now. You look at Meta, I don't think Meta is doing too well in AI, and they are dominating in terms of social network. So if we are able to take maybe only 1% for what Meta is dominating right now, if we can be a very good player, be one of the first to enter the AI native social network, we have a huge chance to succeed. And it requires a very unique combination of the talents and about the skills. Like you have to be very strong in terms of understanding about the social network. And you can be very strong in terms of AI. We don't have to be the best of AI models compared to ChatGPT. We just have to be better than better. And it's definitely achievable. So I think down the road, there will be a lot of social features coming out on our product. Starting from the group chat, the co-write with Agora. There are a couple of new ones, like the news feed is very, very cool. It's all the news is written by AI. It's assembled from the news from online, but it's very short, written in AI. Whatever kind of tones you want to tune for it, whatever content you want to assemble for yourself, you can cater the content that digest from our news feed. It's something very native. Yeah, you're going to see some other features which I can't read at this point. There's going to be hardware coupled with our group chat. Mm-hmm. There's potentially a community coming up. You can definitely expect, all the audience can definitely expect seeing these kind of products in the next 1 quarter. We're moving extremely fast.
Nice. Thanks for the sharing. Yeah, I think this is also my third trip to Singapore in the past 3 months. So I'm truly impressed by how fast the AI ecosystem here is evolving, especially when talking to the leaders and engineers in the AI industry like you.
Thank you very much.
So thank you. So yeah, before we end, do you have any advices, suggestions to our audiences who is trying to building regional meaningful applications?
Yeah, we definitely encourage everybody to start early. Don't have to be brave. I think there's a huge amount of opportunity in building the next gen AI products. When we start to build the product, early this year, you see we are foreseeing a lot of challenges, but the trend, the wave is bigger than we have imagined. So the wave brought us to this stage, and we enjoy a lot in terms of riding out the waves. And we definitely want to encourage all the potential developers, entrepreneurs to join us together to build an ecosystem, just like how the Valley, ChatGPT is building all the kind of ecosystem with the company in Valley. We also want to build a kind of ecosystem with smart minds, good products, good companies in Southeast Asia. Together we can probably dominate the market, at least in these emerging markets.
Nice. Okay, so thank you, Bruce. Thank you for joining our podcast today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I wish Agnes a continued success and growth under your leadership. All right, so it's time to say goodbye. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and see you in the next episode.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys.